YouTube. The guy in the picture was a close friend of mine named Bones from Gaston, Alabama. I remember when I first met Bones, both of us was the two youngest Crips at Elmo Correctional Facility, and we still was, like I said, wild, young, rambunctious, very much impulsive, thought we can do whatever we wanted to do, and we hyped each other up, we fed off each other energy. So, you know, if I was on robbing somebody, taking their phones or whatever, and he was on it, that invigorated us with all the energy we needed to do some of the dumbest stuff young guys can do in prison that only get you killed or prolong your stay in prison. I remember when Bones had robbed the guy for a phone, but it turned out to be a dude named Trill phone, and the dude kept pulling up on Bones like, hey, get that phone back. That was mine. Bone kept saying he ain't had no phone. I remember telling Bone, hey, I heard dude had a reputation for sticking folks. If you want to go about this thing, you got to go on, bring it straight to him. You got to go on, break him. Because the longer you sit around, keep somebody you ain't got a phone that he know you got, because the dude pointed you out saying you the one took the phone, he gonna build his nuts up, and eventually he gonna catch you off guard. Because the more you prolong the situation, the more lax you get, why he get angrier and angrier that you trying to play with him. So he still wanted to do things his way, approach the situation passively. I end up going in the TV room, remember like yesterday, going in the TV room with my partner Primo, and we watching TV. We get to hear some racks moving. That's that sound you know when somebody fighting. So I jumped up. Some just said, Bone. I end up going back in the middle of the dorm. I see Bones beating Trill up. He beating him up. I ain't see the inception of the physical altercation that Trill ran up on Bones, caught him off guard, hit him across the head with a lock, and stabbed him in his side to the point he punctured his lungs. So when Bones standing over Trill beating him, around the time I'm pulling up, Bones slipped in a pool of blood. At the time, I ain't know it was Bones' pool of blood because I didn't know he had got stabbed in his side. So when he slipped in the pool of blood, Trill get back up and grab his knife and lock. I run up out of nowhere. You know, I end up catching Trill's hand that had the knife in it while I was choking him around his neck, yoking him up around his neck. And he started touching him with me, but by the grace of God, my homeboy Primo pulled up and grabbed one of his pen's legs. So that put me in a position where I could leverage him just being on one leg and kind of subdue him a little bit, get Bones up. We bunt on around the corner. I end up helping Bone get in the shower or whatever, trying to help him wash the blood off, and all he keep yelling, Cuz, get a knife, I'm finna kill him. I'm telling the man, too much blood coming out. You know, I'm thinking at the end at the beginning of it, I'm thinking, like I said, he just had his head bust. I didn't know that Trill was able to stab him with the knife. But as he washing off in the shower, I still see more and more blood pooling out. Then I end up lifting up his arm, and I see you got stabbed. I said, Cuz, he probably punctured your lungs. We just got to go to the officers and say you fell off the rack. Just say you fell off the rack and they can hurt and get you some medical attention. So, you know, he ended up doing exactly that. Taking my advice saved his life. And even after that, he healed up. Me and Bone continued to exemplify the same type of stupidity that'll get you killed in prison or be the reason why you have to kill somebody. I say like 2 to 3 years passed. We end up going to different camps. I end up reconnecting with him probably a few years after, a few years before both of us was set to be released in 2025, mandatory release. I noticed he still sounded the same, still talked the same. Nothing had changed. Bones ended up getting into an altercation with an inmate over a female CO and died. And what made it so appalling and sad was Bones had a wife and beautiful little kids he was waiting to get home to. But you in prison entertaining a female CO that you know so many other dudes be fighting for their attention. That's the quickest way for dudes to get in the altercation trying to compete with these women's attention. And most of them got to go back home to their boyfriend, husband, or whatever lifestyle they living outside of their employment. But that's basically where the argument stemmed from. Him trying to be because Bone a nice sized guy. He get into it with a guy. He trying to be a bully. They say he tried to run down on the guy while the guy had a knife. The guy planted it in his neck. Bone dead now. Bone's dead. And the reason is he's dead because he failed to mature. He failed to change. Now he dead. Now your wife that lost her husband, that your children lost their father, all because you want to show out for a female in prison. And that bothered me more than his death. The reason for his death bothered me more than knowing a dude I used to be cool with dead. Died about a woman that can care less about you. That got thousands of inmates that be in her face every day. Hundreds of inmates come through that facility, every month. You fight for the attention of a lady that don't even care nothing about none of y'all. So that's one dude dead and another one fighting a murder case. And I actually know both of the dudes, but I ain't finna say the other guy name while he fighting a murder case or whatever. But this is what I'm saying. In life, if you don't do nothing else, you're gonna have to change, because that's the only thing that's constant. Or you're gonna see everything around you change and move on while you just stagnant. And then eventually you're gonna be lost in the sauce. That's if you don't die. But you gotta change, you gotta grow up. You gotta grow up with your age. You gotta grow up with your peers. Bones, 32, 33 years old, still running around trying to be a bully, beat his chest, take folks stuff. But by us going our separate ways, I was able to evolve and change. I was able to humble myself down by the grace of God. He didn't. Now he did. That stuff catch up to you. The universe always gonna line it up. Well, it's a bigger and badder bully, or it may even be a smaller guy that you probably can get the best of, but he strike just a little faster than you. Just strike just a little tad bit faster than you, and that'll be the end of your life.